Hi beautiful people! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Joy. This is my second update on my Project Pan 2022. The goal of this project is to use the products in the project 100 times. This is different from my previous year's Project Pan where my goal is to use up the product. This time I just want to hit 100 uses. Some of the products in the project I may be able to use up before I hit the 100 uses. And if I do hit that point where I have an empty, I will be rolling in a new product. Some of the products, even if I've hit 100 uses, I'll keep it in the project rather than rolling it out and rolling in a new product. And these are the products where I think I may be able to use up within the year. Let me start my update with the moisturizing cream that I have in the project. And this is the Himalaya Olive Extra Nourishing Cream. For this one, if you compare it from the previous month, you can see that I've progressed a lot. And we even have the bottom showing already. What is left here, I think would still take me about 10 uses. In my first update, I used this 38 times. And this time, I used this 37 times. So 1 time less. Considering that February is a short month, it's not surprising that I use this less. But definitely, I know I can use this up in the month of March. So in my third update, this will be an empty. Now, let me move on with this primer. So this is the Eliana Blur Makeup Primer. This one, that's where I am right now. On my after my second month of using this, I've used this 14 times. So I've used this less compared to my first update. First update 21, this update 14, so it's a total of 35. So you can also tell from the marker that I've used less product from here. Another primer in the project is this Dr. Brandt Luminizer primer, and that's where I am now. I've used this more compared to my first update because I used this 8 times. In my first update, I used this 6 times. So this is 14 times. Just 14 uses. So this is a long way, but I guess I can use this up. This one, I may have some challenges, I think, because I don't really need a lot compared to this. Because it's runny, I tend to use a lot of the product in here. Now, moving on to the foundation, I have these 2 foundations. So I have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in the shade Golden Beige, and I have this Happy Skin Ready to Glow, and the shade is Pink Beige. Yeah, Pink Beige. So this 2 is actually not my shade. This is a tad dark on me, and this one is a bit too pink on me. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing it with this LA Girl Pro Coverage White Foundation. For this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, I used this 11 times for this second update. And for the Happy Skin, I used this 13 times. For both occasions, I would be mixing this LA Girl Pro Coverage. There are days I would use this Happy Skin Ready to Glow foundation on its own, but most of the time, I mix them. And this one, I've used 17 times. So this one, I've now used this 26 times. First month, 9 uses, and then second month, 17 uses. For this one, in total, I've now used this 19 times. So 1 usage short if my goal is to use this product 10 times per month. And then for the Ready to Glow Happy Skin Foundation, I've used that 13 times. So I've used that 29 times. So this one, I'm on track. Among these 2, I would like to use up this one. This one, I am able to make it work. But this one is really just too pink on me. Now, moving on to the concealer. I have this San concealer, and this is what it looks like. So I guess, can you tell? I don't think we can really tell. As I've mentioned in my intro, I think I already mentioned that My goal is not to hit pan on this one, but to flatten this because it's quite deep actually in the middle. And there's a lot of product in here, so I don't think I can use this up. However, what I observe is that I'm starting to enjoy using this. I've been using this with a sponge this time. Unlike in the first month, I've been using my finger or a brush to get product from here, and it doesn't look as good as using a sponge. I am starting to enjoy using this, and it's brightening, and that's what I'm looking for a concealer. And then I have two powders in the project. Let me start with the pressed powder. So this one, this is a Marks and Spencer pressed powder. Now for this one, I don't think you can tell actually significant progress or any progress at all, because it looks similar to when I started. It still looked the same. Now this one, I've used it 8 times. I've used this more for this update than my first update, because in my first update I used this 5 times. But this is still, I'm still struggling to use this. This is not, it doesn't really look good on me. So I need to find a way how I can make it look not so drying on my face. And aside from that, of course, because of the shade, the shade is light. Since I'm mixing my foundation with the white foundation, it doesn't help to have a light foundation on top of the shade that I've created. Now, the other powder in the project is this Nichido loose powder. So this is a final powder. This is my first update, and I didn't mark where I am right now because it doesn't really make it. There's not much difference from the first update. In my first update, I used this 18 times, but this time I only used this 7 times. So I guess that's the reason why there's no change where I am from that line. I've not been using powder a bit. I guess my skin is a bit dry this time, so it doesn't look good. And then I have this Careline contour stick. Now this one, I think we still cannot see a difference from my first update and even from the intro. Perhaps when I'm able to flatten this. So here, there, you can still see that there's still that showing. This is already flat. Yeah, that's already where I can't move this one anymore. So it would take a while for me to flatten this. This one, I used this 9 times. Compared to my first update, I used this 17 times. And then the bronzer that I have in the project is this Tarte Park Avenue Princess. And that's what it looks like. Now, I don't think we can see significant progress yet. Not yet, but there's actually a bit of usage showing already on this one. This one, I've used this 14 times. In my first update, I used this 9 times. So I've been using this more than the Careline contour stick for this second update. And then I have 3 blushes. Let me start with the cream blush. So this is the Alouette face paint, and I've used this 9 times. In my first update, I've used this 13 times. What I noticed in terms of the number of uses for the blush, I've used less for the month of February, but then again, as I mentioned, February is a short month, so it's not surprising I use less of the products here in terms of number of uses. And then I have this is a BYS blush. And if you look at what it looks like in the previous month, there's no difference actually. So it still looks similar. The same, rather. It still looks like I haven't been using this one. This is quite pigmented. All of these are actually pigmented. This one is pigmented if I if I put a lot. In January, I wasn't using as much. I used that several times, but I don't get a lot of products. And this one, I have been using less product because it's quite pigmented, and I've used this 12 times. First month, I used that 15 times. Now for the third blush, it's a Franken Blush, and I have pan showing. So there, you can now see the pan there. Perhaps this is, because this is a Franken Blush, I think there may be less product on this side than on that side. So that's the reason why I already hit pan on this one. This, I used 20 times. So I've used this more. Among the 3 blushes, I've used this more. And I've also used this more compared to my first update. In my first update, I used this 18 times. In terms of the weight, actually, these two is the same. More or less the same. But I'm planning to use this up if I can. First than this one. I prefer this shade than this one. And then I have 2 highlighter. Let me start with the Urban Decay Sin. Now for this one, I don't know if we can, I don't think there's a difference. So most of this, that's when I'm trying to compare, it doesn't look like there's a difference. And it's a bit difficult actually to get product from here. So I really need to press my brush hard to get product out of there. This one, I used this 12 times. So I've been focusing on this one compared to the other highlighter because I only used this 7 times in my first update. So total is 19 uses. The other highlighter is this Becca Highlighter, and the shade is Prosecco Pop. So for this one, this is unused when I started the project, and now you can tell that I have used this, that this is no longer new. And I've used this 10 times for this second update. My first update, I used this 14 times. And then for the lip products, I have 4. So I have this NYX Soft Matte Liquid Lipstick or Lip Cream. Soft Matte Lip Cream. And then I have this lip gloss. This is the BTLA lip gloss. The shade is Amber. I have this Wet n Wild Catsuit, Liquid Catsuit, and the shade is Rebel Rose. And I have this Wet n Wild Mega Lash lipstick, and the shade is Dollhouse Pink. Among the 4 I have used the most is this Liquid Catsuit because I tend to layer my lipstick. So I would either use this first, this Dollhouse Pink Wet n Wild lipstick, and then put this on top. And then sometimes I would put this on top of that because this is quite drying. So for this one, I used this 34 times, the Liquid Catsuit, Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit Rebel Rose. That's also the number of usage I did in my first update. For the BTLA, I used this 19 times. In my first update, I used this 28 times. For this NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream, I've used this 18 times. This one, I may be able to use it up because now whenever I get product, I don't get the same opacity anymore. So there, I think I'm almost done with this. I'm still able to get product from here, but it's a bit difficult now. And then for this one, I've used this 11 times. So this one, this is a bit of a struggle. But I'll keep this in the project because my goal is to use these products 100 times each. Initially, my plan is actually to try to use this up, but now I think I'll just stick with the 100 uses and then move on to another lip product. And then I have here this eyebrow pencil. This is the Vice Gandal Micro Brow. This one, I've been using this. I think I can actually use this up quite fast if I just work on this one, but I haven't really been reaching to this for my eyebrows. Sometimes I would use this just to draw my eyebrows, and then I would fill it up with an eyeshadow that I'm working on as part of my Panda palette. This time, I've used this 10 times. In January, I've used this 15 times. This may take me about 10 to 15 more uses, I think, before I can fully use this up. I'm thinking I can probably try to focus on this one in the month of March. And perhaps I can have this as an empty in addition to the moisturizer, the Himalaya moisturizing cream. And then lastly, I have this hand cream. So this is not its original packaging. I just repurposed this Pinkies Collection makeup base. But what I have here is a hand cream. And this is where I am. I've marked it already. I've used this 10 times. So there you go. That's my update. Let me just do a quick comparison. In my first update, my top 3 in terms of the number of uses is this one, the moisturizer, this Wet n Wild liquid lipstick, and this BTLA lip gloss. That's the first update. For this update, it's still this one. That's my top one. But the second product is still this one. But the third product is not this one because I only used this 19 times. So the third product is this blush. I've used this 20 times. And as mentioned, this is probably why I was able to hit pan there. I'll probably focus somewhere else, or maybe even in the same place, so we can see an expansion. And that's something I enjoy, seeing progress. So these are my top 3. Now the product that I used the least for this second update is this powder product, this Nichido loose powder, final powder. I've used the least. I've used this 7 times, and the rest I've used 8 times. That's the next one. So the Marks and Spencer, where I'm having difficulty progressing, I've used this 1 time more than this Nichido final powder. Okay, so that's my update for this Project Pan 2022. This is my second update, and I hope to see you in my next update for this project. Thank you all for watching. Bye!